Alright, for first chapter kita nak tengok what is statistics, right? Boleh dengar So statistics basically, right, is a field of study of how information is commonly known as data being collected, presented, analyzed, and interpreted. This is the definition of statistics lah. How information is being collected, right? Dia ada beberapa lah. Statistics can be, the definition of statistic is how information is being collected, organized, right? And then analyze, interpret, and last is presented. Right? For decision making lah, to make a decision making. That is a definition of statistics. So statistics basically is how information is being collected, information known as data lah, is being collected, organized, analyzed, interpret, and presented, and for making a decision. Right, that is a definition of statistics. So kalau masuk dalam final exam or test, you should know lah, this is the definition of statistics. So basically, statistics can be divided into two types, right? So there are two types of statistics. First is descriptive statistics, another one is inferential statistics. So in this first class, we just need to know, familiarize with some terms, right, in statistics, such as the definition of statistics, the type of statistics, the basic term in statistics such as population and so on lah. Kita nak kenalkan term-term dulu, right, before we go into detail, right? So I think hari ni kena banyak baca lah. So we know that there are two types of statistics. There are first one is descriptive statistics. Another one is inferential statistics, right? So I boleh tulis kat sini, statistic can be divided into two types. First is descriptive statistics. Another one is inferential statistics. So what is descriptive statistics? Nama pun descriptive statistics. We just want to summarize or describe the data, right? So kalau kita tengok proper definition, right? So it's a procedure consists of technique for summarizing data in form of graph, chart, tables, and technique for obtain numerical summaries such as mean, median, mode, variance, and deviation. You just want to describe the data, right? Kita nak tengok data tu ada berapa banyak yang tinggi, berapa banyak yang kurang, what is the mean, what is the standard deviation, what is the shape of distribution. Kalau nak tengok dalam chart tu, boleh tengok dalam pie chart, bar chart, histogram, right, and so on lah. So example of descriptive statistics, right, kita tengok sini example-nya. If we are studying the monthly pocket money obtained by 200 students selected from the total of 1,500 students in the college, we might want to find out the average monthly pocket money obtained by the student, right? So kita nak tahu, kalau kita kita ada 1,500 students dalam UiTM Tapah contoh kan, kita tengok 5,000 kan. So kita interview 200 student out of 5,000 student in UiTM Tapah. So kita tanya apakah dia punya student punya monthly pocket money, right, from 200 student ni. So we want to know the average monthly pocket money of 200 student ni. So finding the average monthly pocket money ni, ini adalah part of descriptive statistics. Boleh So finding the average monthly pocket money is example of descriptive statistics. So you want to find average, you want to find the total, median, mode, standard deviation, itu semua lies under descriptive statistics, because the descriptive statistics is actually the procedure consists of technique for summarizing data. Kita nak summarize data. Summarize data ni dalam bentuk apa? You can go into chart, tables, and you can also go for numerical summary such as mean, mode, median, variance, and deviation. Right? So, another type of statistic is inferential statistics. So, inferential statistics, right, consists a technique to make or draw conclusion about the population from the selected sample. Right. So, now, tengok dekat sini, example dia kata sini, this is example. In inferential statistics, we use the average monthly pocket money for 200 students to make conclusion about the average monthly pocket money for all 1,500 students in college. So, kita nak infer back to the population. Contoh yang I boleh bagi satu lagi lain, lebih kurang sama. Let's say I have a population, right? This is 5,000 students in UiTM Tapah. So in UiTM Tapah, we have 3 faculties, right? So we have 3 faculties. This is FP, KPPIM, and FSG, for example, kan? So setiap satu fakulti ni kita ada total student lah, the total population for each faculties. Example, let's say I take N1 equal to 200. So from faculty of accounting, I took 200 students. Faculty of computer science, I took another 200 students. And faculty of FSG, I took 200 students. Right? So I ada 3 sampel dekat sini. We have 3 sampel. So each sample I measure the mean of monthly pocket money. So let's say first I got RM 500 contoh, kan. Another faculty says that RM 300 only. The last faculty, FSG, dia kata RM 1,000, for example lah. Right? So this is average monthly pocket money, right? For each of 200 students. So from these 3 measures, I akan cari mean of the mean. So the grand mean. So I akan dapat 500 plus 300 plus 1,000 divided by 3. So the answer will be the mean of the population of all students. So we can infer back to the population. We can say that all UiTM, the average monthly pocket money for UiTM, a student in UiTM Tapah is berapa? RM800 contoh. Kan? So by looking at the average monthly pocket money for each sample we took. Okay, boleh faham the inferential and descriptive. Descriptive, kita nak describe the data saja based on the sample. Right? Inferential, we will take the sample and we infer back to the population. Boleh, eh? So I hope you've clear with the difference between descriptive and inferential statistics. Right? Now, remember this is statistic with S. So, what is data? Another term that we need to understand, data and variable. So, data are the observation or information that we have recorded or collected. For example, you want to collect data monthly pocket money, right? Monthly pocket money. Monthly. Right. So, let's say you collect 200 students, right? collect the information from 200 students. So let's say the first student says that monthly pocket money dia, let's say RM 300. Another student says that RM 200. The third student says that RM 1000. The fourth student RM 500, for example, kan? So ini, the value that you obtain, this one, the value that you obtain is called as data. Right? Data can be divided into two types, either categorical data or numerical data. So kalau kita tengok dekat sini, this is numeric value, so this is a numerical data. Boleh faham, ha? So monthly pocket money is the thing that we interested to find, right? So this is what we call as variable. So variable is something that we interested to find, right? So the value inside the variable is called data. Okay. Now some data set can be grouped or as numeric observation, such as number of children, age, height, weight, and other consists of non-numeric observation, such as gender, marital status. Ni semua ini I summarizekan macam ni, ya. So data can be divided into categorical and numerical. Right, macam tadi I cakap, kalau numerical, it consists a value lah, right? It consists of value, right? Categorical, something that we cannot measure, something we cannot measure, but we can classify. For example, gender, male, female. Another one, ethnicity. Kita ada Malay, Chinese, Indian, right? Lagi satu kita ada faculties, right? FP, FSG, KPP, IM, right? So ini something that we can classify, but we cannot measure the quantity. We cannot quantify benda tu, right? Itu dinamakan categorical data, right? So ini categorical and numerical ni, we can put it as this way lah. Let's say kita sebut tadi, I ketak sini sikit. Alright. So tadi I sebut kita ada variable. Variable. Inside the variable, the value that accommodate the variable is called as data. Right? Boleh faham itu? What is variable? Something that we are interested to study. For example, right, this is something, ataupun we can say that we are interested to study. For example, apa? Let's say I want to know what is the current weight of 200 students, height, right? Let's say CGPA, knowledge on dengue prevention, right? Lagi apa? Inilah contoh lah, kan? Maybe boleh cari lain, So kita nak, let's say I want to know what is the current weight of student, what is the current height of student, what is the GPA, CGPA, GPA of student in UiTM Tapa, knowledge on dengue fever prevention. Ini semua called as variable lah, right? So let's say we collect the data. We know that weight of the student, let's say kita first student, kita collect 200 kan. Let's say first student ada 45 kilo, 35 kilos, 57 kilos, 73 kilos, and so on. So ini dipanggil data, right? Kita faham itu kan? And then let's say gender, kita sebut satu lagi lah. This is male, female, male, female. Ini pun sebagai data juga, right? So ini dinamakan categorical data. So now, since you already understand that one, so I nak buat satu classification dekat sini. Right? So pada this one, kita nak terangkan go in detail about variable. Okay? So variable can be divided into two parts. Tadi I dah terangkan kan? So the first part is qualitative data variable. Another one is quantitative variable. We have two classification of variable. Okay? So now qualitative variable means that something data that we cannot quantify lah. Means we cannot measure. We cannot measure. Tulis selalu I punya tulisan cantik tau. Measure. Okay. Measure or quantify lah. Right? So ini kita boleh measure or count. It's a numerical in nature. Right? Numerical in nature. Boleh faham, boleh nampak, boleh faham ambil tulisan kan? Okay? Right. So, qualitative example of qualitative variable. So, example gender. Right? Gender, male, female. Lagi satu lagi apa? Ethnicity. Malay, Chinese, Indian, Siamese. Lagi kita ada color. Red, blue, yellow, green. Betul? Right? Itu example of qualitative lah. It means that is a categorical in nature. Right? So we cannot measure or quantify, but we can classify. This is red, this is blue, this is either live or die. Right? So itu adalah qualitative lah. So under quantitative, we can divide into two parts. We can subdivide into two parts, which is discrete quantitative variable. Another one is continuous quantitative variable. So it can be divided into two parts, which is discrete quantitative variable. Another one is continuous quantitative variable. So what is discrete? Discrete is a numerical variable. We know that this is a numerical variable, right? On quantitative part is a numerical. We can measure or quantify. So discrete means a data that contain only whole number. Right? We measure. It measures by counting. It measures by counting process. Right? So it measures by counting process. For example, apa example of discrete variable? Example, number of children. Right? We cannot measure number of children, kan? We can only count number of children. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kan? Dia tak ada 1.2, tak ada, kan? Sebab it is a whole number. It's a numerical data, right? It's a discrete quantitative variable. Number of children, number of students, right? Something that we can count, right? We cannot measure using instrument tool. So it lies under discrete. Number of accident and so on lah. This is some example yang I boleh bagi hari ni. Right? Okay. So that is classification of discrete quantitative variable. Now, let's look at continuous quantitative variable. Continuous quantitative variable is a numerical variable that we can measure. Right? It contains any values in range are possible, right? Measures by measurement tool. We measure the values for continuous quantitative variable ni by measurement tools. For example, let's say height, right? So height is a continuous quantitative variable. It can contain values such as 162.5 centimeter, 70.3 centimeter, 172.5 centimeter, and so on lah. So it can contain decimal point. So any value within the range from 0 to infinity, right? So any value within the range, right, are possible. Boleh faham? So dia ada interval scale. Dia adalah interval value lah, right? And then it must measure by instrument tool, right? It can be measured by instrument tool. For example, let's say you want to know the value of height, so you need to have instrument tool. Let's say kita pakai measurement tape kan, for example. Measurement tape untuk measure height. Let's say kita nak tengok weight, kita pakai scale, right? Weight, lagi income, right? Income pun kita measure by ringgit kan, by dollar, right? Lagi apa? Banyak lagi lah. Income, let's say kilometer, right? Number of travel, number of distance travel, right? So itu adalah continuous quantitative variable. So far, any question regarding the type of variable? Sebab kita nak turun lagi, ada banyak lagi ni. So we need to understand the first basic classification of variables, right? Variable and data. First, we need to know what is the difference between variable and data, and then we need to know what is the classification of variable. Okay? Any question? So under the needs of variable, we have some classification. Another classification, level of measurement. Level of measurement. So kita tengok I dah divide ini kepada dua. So I divide two part, qualitative and quantitative. So we know that. So on the right hand side is quantitative, on the left hand side is qualitative. Okay, so let's look at qualitative. Under qualitative, we have two type or level of measurement. The first is nominal scale, another one is ordinal scale. For quantitative, we can divide into two type, right? Kita tak nak pergi straight. We can divide into two type. First is interval scale, another one is ratio scale. So you need to understand In nominal and interval, it lies under qualitative variable, right? It classified under qualitative variable. This is the level of measurement, right? So the level of measurement, nominal and ordinal, we know that both are qualitative variable, both are categorical in nature, right? So what is the difference between nominal? Nominal means that the variable or data that cannot be ranked. The data that cannot be ranked or in order. Right. For example, let's say gender. We cannot say that first is male, second is female. Right. It cannot be in order. Right. It can be either female or male or female. Another one is ethnicity. So both are categorical data, Malay, Chinese, Indian. It can be either Chinese, Indian, Malay, or Indian, Malay, Chinese, or Malay, Chinese, Indian. Right? So it cannot be in order. We cannot rank that categorical data. Right? Another example, let's say color. Right? Colors, red, yellow, green. Right? So it can be green, yellow, red, and so on lah. So ordinal scale, nama pun ordinal, right, is a categorical data that should be in order and can be ranked. Right? Apa maksud dia? Means that this variable is a categorical variable. It consists of categorical data, right? But the data must be in order, mesti ikut turutan. For example, committee, right? Committee, we need to start from president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer, right? So means that it must be in order. This is a categorical value, right? President, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. So you cannot say that treasurer, president, vice president, and secretary. They must be in order. President, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. Right. Another one is income. Income category. Right. So income category, let's say kita kata low income, middle, and high. Right. So it must be in order. Right. It cannot be medium, low, and high. Right. So something that we must put in order, right, it should be lies under ordinal scale. Can you understand? Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Bila I tanya tu jawab. Any question? No. So Nur Hidayatu Nur Diana, where is your... You tak buka kamera yang mana tak buka kamera nanti I akan kick from class, okay? Attendance not counting. Right. So now let's look at another part, which is quantitative part. We have discrete and continuous. So under discrete and continuous, we have two types of level of measurement, which is interval and ratio. Right. So we know that both are under quantitative, means numerical, kan? So interval is a numerical data, right? It's a numerical data where the value of 0 is not a true 0, right? It's a numerical data 0 is not a true 0. Right. Another one is we cannot measure the distance between two observation are equal. Right. So what does it mean by 0 is not a true 0? So for example, the famous example is temperature. Right. So we can say that Celsius, 0 Celsius, it doesn't mean that there are no temperature. Right. So it means that 0 Celsius means very cold situation kan. Dia punya keadaan tu sangat sejuk kan, takkan beku. So it doesn't mean that 0 is no temperature. So that's what we call as 0 is a true 0. It's not a true 0 lah. Let me copy this one. Letak ke atas ni. Right. So this is some example of, oops. This is some example of interval, right? Temperature. The difference between 20 and 30 is the same as between 30 and 40, right? So that's why I say that the difference of two distance are equal, right? So this is example of interval. IQ score. This is also example of interval scale. So IQ score of 100 is a set of average, and the score are measured in terms of deviation from this average. However, an IQ equal to 0 doesn't mean that absence of intelligence lah, right? This is macam exam score semua tu, dia adalah interval lah. Dates also classified as interval. Time of day, right? Interval. Sebab apa date interval? So kita kata year 0 doesn't mean that there is absence of time, right? So time, dia kata kat sini, however 00 midnight doesn't indicate absence of time. It's just a reference point. Longitude and latitude is also classified as interval scale, right? Lagi credit score also classified as interval scale, right? So dia kata kat sini 0 doesn't mean absence of credit worthiness lah. pH scale, right? This is also called as lies under interval lah. Means that the 0 doesn't mean absence of acidity lah. Anything regarding time, dates also lies under interval scale. So ini adalah example lah. Okay. So ratio means that the opposite of interval lah, right? Sebab dia dua-dua ni lies under quantitative variable. So it's a numerical variable. 0 is a true 0. So what does it mean 0 is true 0? For example, let's say money, right? Monthly pocket money. Let's say you say that you don't have monthly pocket money, means that you don't have monthly pocket money, right? Ataupun distance equal to 0, means that it's really 0 lah. You tak bergerak ke mana-mana lah, right? Boleh faham? Okay. So ada example yang kita measure the different are not equal, and then it lies under ratio. Okay. Boleh faham? Any question so far? Lagi satu, saya bagi example lagi lah. Height, weight, and so on lah. CGPA. Yes. Ada soalan? Alright, good. So I hope you understand the concept or the definition of variable, data, the type of variables, right, and level of measurement. So ini yang bawah ni I dah akan skip lah. So hari ni tak banyak kita nak masuk. Kita akan berhenti sampai sampling. Sampling kita akan masuk next class, next week lah. Right. So I tak nak bagi you banyak benda, nanti takut you tak boleh nak adapt. Right. So now kita nak masuk the second part, which is the basic statistical term. Right. Basic statistical term, we have some term that we need to understand in statistics, right? So ini belum core part topik lagi ya. Ini just nak fahamkan the terms that we going to use, right? So population, I think you already heard this one several times, right? Population, what is population, and so on. It's a complete group consists of individual, object, item, or measurement. It's a complete group consists of individual, object, items, or measurement, right? To be taken for the purpose of study or survey. So let's say, example, you want to study the number of defect in manufacturer, kan, manufacturing process. Let's say kita punya goods adalah, let's say bottle, right? So kita produce bottle, and then kita nak tengok berapa banyak bottle yang defect. So our population will be all bottle produced in one day production, right? So semua botol yang ada dalam day one production, right? Satu pun kita nak measure the knowledge, attitude and practice on dengue fever prevention among resident in Perak, right? So the population will be all residents in Perak. Boleh faham tak? I sebut all bottles, all residents. Let's say we want to know, we want to study about the competency of lecturers in UiTM Tapa regarding teaching method, contoh kan. So the population will be all lecturers in UiTM Tapa. Let's say I want to know the monthly pocket money among students in UiTM Tapa. So the population will be all students in UiTM Tapa. You boleh faham I sebut what is the magic word? All. Dah nampak ah? So sebut all bachelor students, all houses in Taman Demensi, all trees in park, all student in class. Boleh? So population means that all members, right, or members ataupun object, item or measurement for the purpose of in the area of the study lah, area of the study for the purpose of study, right? Sample means that the portion taken from the population for the purpose of the study, right? For example, let's say I letak satu example lah, senang kita nak go through that example, right? Let's say I want to know average monthly pocket money among students in UiTM Tapah. So this is my objective. I want to know the average monthly pocket money among students in UiTM Tapah. So first, my population will be all students in UiTM Tapah. Right? Let's say I have the total student in UiTM Tapah, let's say capital N equal to 5,000. So this is the total number of students in UiTM Tapah. So remember the notation that I use here is capital N. right? So now, sample is a portion taken from the population. So let's say I want to take only 200 students in UITM Tapah, right? So I want to take only 200 students in UITM Tapah. So my sample will be small letter n equal to 200 students. So nampak notation yang I guna dekat sini? So the small letter n is sample, the capital letter N is for population. Right, nampak di sini example of sample 60 lecturers in UiTM Cawangan, Melaka. So let's say ini I letak color code so senang nampak. Okay, so say this one, all lecturers in UiTM Cawangan, Melaka, 60 lecturers in UiTM Cawangan, Melaka. Right, so all bachelor students in UiTM, 80 bachelor student in UiTM. You boleh nampak, you boleh faham kan? This one, double story terrace house in Taman Dimensi. This is all houses in Taman Dimensi, double story house in Taman Dimensi. Say ini adalah all trees in park. So hibiscus tree in park. Right, boleh faham ah? Okay. So that is sample and population. Now let's look at another term which is sampling unit. Sampling unit is a unit of sample that has been selected from the population randomly or non-randomly. Okay, now kita back to the example kita ni. Right. So in our example, we have population. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4 until 5,000. Right. This is a list of all students in UiTM Tapah lah. We have capital N equal to 5,000. This is population. Boleh I illustrate macam ni kan? Kita nak fahamkan what is a sampling unit. So now, the sample, let's say I letak satu circle dekat sini, represent sample. So this is sample. This is N equal to 200. So let's say I select randomly, I select 1, 2, 3 something lah kat sini kan, I select masuk dalam ni. Some student, I select 200 student lah. Let's say this is 200 student, I select letak dalam sample I ni. So all of this is called as sampling unit. Boleh faham? So members in sample is called sampling unit lah. Members or student that we select to become a sample is a sampling unit. So kita tengok dekat sini, as a unit of sample that has been selected from the population, random or non-random. So nanti kita akan discuss next topic, what is a random sampling and non-random sampling. Okay, so another term that we need to understand is sampling frame. Sampling frame is a list of all members in the population. Right, it's a list of all members in the population. Ini tak habis lah. Consists of their information. Consists of their information. Right, such as number, phone number, matrix number, course, name, ID and so on lah. So apa information yang kita perlukan? Sebab apa? When we have the information, bila kita buat sample, kita nak contact balik the sample tu yang kita select nanti, randomly or non-random. Right? For example, kita tengok dekat sini, bagi faham sikit, kita balik kepada example kita. So now, instead of macam ni, let's say I letak, I ada population equal to 5,000. Sampling frame, I kena listkan all members in the population, right? all members in the population. So this is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until 5,000. So the list of all members in the population consists of their information lah, such as name, ID, address, phone number, course, apa semua lah. Ikut situation. Let's say this is currently we are looking into student UiTM TAPA. So we need what information we need? We need the names, we need ID, we need a course program, semester, faculties, and number phone lah. So we can so later on when we select the respondent, a sample as a sampling unit, we can contact the respondent. Right? So semua ni, ini yang dipanggil sampling frame. So again, what is a sampling frame? Sampling frame is list of all members in the population consists of their information. So it is prepared so that sample can be selected randomly or from population. Some example dekat sini, list of student names in the class, list of college name in UiTM campus Alor Gajah, for example, list of company registered in Bursa Malaysia, list of name and address of subscriber in telephone directory, for example. Okay, boleh faham? So sampling frame, basically we need sampling frame when we deal with random sampling techniques. When we dealing with a random sampling techniques, we need sampling frame. Right? Sampling frame is necessary when sample are selected randomly. Sometimes sampling frame is not available or cannot be prepared. For example, let's say my study is about knowledge, attitude and practice on dengue fever prevention at Perak Tengah District. Right? So my population will be all residents at Perak Tengah District. So ada ramai lah kat sini kan, resident in Perak Tengah. So macam mana nak dapatkan sampling frame? It's really hard to get lah. Right? Sometimes ada resident yang sudah migrate, ada yang sudah mati, ada yang sakit duduk kat hospital, dia tak duduk dekat situ dah. So susah nak dapatkan list of members in population. So in that case, kalau susah nak dapat, we cannot use a random sampling techniques to select the sample. We should use non-random lah. Nanti kita akan discuss ni on next topic. Still under chapter number 1, but next topic, next class lah. Right, now let's look at random sample. Random sample means that this is just not really the topic that we're going to discuss. Tadi saya cakap ini adalah pengenalan saja, the term. What is a random sample? Random sample means consider every member in the population has equal chance or probability to be selected as sampling unit. It means that let's look at the sampling technique, sampling frame that we have just now. We have 1 to 5,000 kan? So each of the members, each of students in the population or sampling frame has an equal chance to be selected as sampling unit. Right? 1 over 5,000. This is also 1 over 5,000. The chance or probability to be selected as a sampling unit is 1 over 5,000. Right? So that is a random sample. If, for example, dekat sini, population there is 1,000 member, then each member of the population will have probability 1 over 1,000. Okay. Now, let's look at another term which is census. Are you okay, Boleh? So, kejap lagi I akan bagi quizzes dekat you. Census, seorang lagi tak buka kamera, Nur Nabila, Farah Aisyah. So, census is a survey that takes all members in the defined population. For example, let's say kita kata ada, you pernah dengar banci kan? Banci penduduk, banci pendapatan, itulah census lah. Right? So, now, census kita ada 5,000 students. we are not going to select a sample 200. Right? Kita akan measure semua 5,000 students. So ini adalah sample, census. Kita akan take all members in the population as our sampling unit. Kita tak ada sampling unit yang daripada sampel lah. Right? The best example of census is population census. Right? Population census is normally taken if the population to be studied is small. Right? Population to be studied is small. Okay. Alright. So I hope you clear with the term census. Another one is sample survey. Sample survey, nama pun sample kan. So survey means that we want to take a survey lah. Maksudnya we distribute the questionnaire and so on. So survey means we take only portion of population, right? It's a sample survey, right? This survey is best done when the population size is large or very large. Let's say we have 5,000, we want to know the average monthly pocket money. We take a sample lah. Instead of 5,000, we take 200 sample only. So that one we call as sample survey. Okay. Another one is pilot survey. Pilot survey is not a study about aircraft. Okay. It's not a study about aircraft. It's a survey that carry out before the actual survey. Ingat jangan tulis dalam final exam study about aircraft. Pilot study or pilot survey. Sebab ada student yang tulis dalam final exam. Dia tak tahu apa itu pilot study. Dia ingatkan pilot is about aircraft, so study about aircraft. The purpose of pilot survey, right, is to identify any problem that may arise during the actual study, right? It's also known as a pre-test of relevancy of the questionnaire. So means that when you develop some things, right, you want to study about knowledge, attitude, and practice on dengue fever prevention. Of course, you need a questionnaire to measure the knowledge, attitude, and practice. So you need to develop a questionnaire. Once you develop a questionnaire, you need to test whether your questionnaire is relevant or not relevant. Right? Sama juga lagi, maybe I buat contoh lebih senang sikit. Let's say a company produce a new drugs, right? New drugs. For example, drug for flu, for example, kan? So before dia jual drug tu, dia mesti kena masuk satu phase, iaitu testing phase. Dia kena test lah sama ada drug tu berapa lama dia boleh tahan, apa dia punya side effect. Kalau dia masuk dalam packaging kapsul, berapa lama dia boleh tahan dalam kapsul tu, kena panas berapa, temperature berapa dia akan cair. So dia kena test lah. Dia tengok dulu sebelum dia jual. So this is what we call as pilot survey lah. Okay. Alright. And then kita dah tengok variable. Kejap ya. Variable kita dah tengok tadi kan. Kita ada discuss in detail what is variable. So I can skip this one. So now let's look at another two terms here, which is statistic without S and parameter. Tadi at the first initially masa kita start class, I dah sebut statistics with S. Right? The definition of statistics is how information is collected, organized, analyzed, interpreted, and presented for decision making. Now, another term that we need to look at is statistic without S. Another one is parameter. Statistic is a numerical summary calculated from sample. Statistic is numerical summary calculated from sample. Parameter is a numerical summary calculated from population. right? So what is a numerical summary? Such as mean, median, standard deviation, right, and so on lah. So statistic and parameter, right? So this is taken from sample. This is taken from population, right? So mean, let's say mean, the symbol for statistic, mean for statistic is X bar. The symbol for parameter, mean parameter is mu. Standard deviation, right? Symbol is S. For sample statistic, for parameter is sigma. Ada banyak lagi lah, tapi kita tengok ini dulu. Right, for example, I have a population tadi, capital N equal to 5,000, 5,000, and then I ada sample kat sini, right, N equal to 200, right. So, let's say I select one sample. This is sample number 1. Kat sini sample number 1. Let's say satu lagi sample number 2. Let's say I ambil satu lagi sample, N equal to 3. So N3 equal to 200. This is 300. This is, let's say I padam this one, N1 equal to 200, for example. Let's say 5,000 ni, daripada 5,000 members in the population, I select 3 samples from the population. So I measure the average monthly pocket money for the first sample, let's say RM 200. This is X bar 2 RM 500. X bar 3 RM 1000. Let's say 3000 lah. 300 lah. So total is 1000. Right? Boleh? So nampak tak? X bar, I use X bar when I want to calculate statistic for the sample. So if I want to infer back to the population, I take mu, which is equal to X bar bar, which is X bar 1 plus X bar 2 plus X bar 3 divided by N. So this one should be 200 plus 300 plus 200 divided by 3. So it should be equal to 333, for example lah. Right? So the average or parameter for population monthly pocket money should be equal to RM333. This is parameter, mu. And this is sample. So I hope you can differentiate between parameter and sample. Okay, parameter and statistic is a numerical summary. Statistic taken from population, parameter taken from population. Boleh? Statistic taken from sample, parameter taken from population. Now let's look at example number 1. So a researcher wants to study on the level of computer literacy among residents in city. Right. He then select only 200 residents from the telephone directory. So ni example yang lama lah. Telephone directory dulu ada macam buku kan, phone book, right? Ada buku yellow page apa semua. You pernah tengok benda tu yang tebal tu, right? So dalam tu ada apa? Ada nama, alamat, phone number. Itu saja kan. So what is the population of interest? Based on the statement, what is the population of interest? Remember population kita kata, kita sebut all kan? All resident in a city. Right? Okay. A sample, what is a sample? 200 resident lah kan. This is a sample, right? 200 resident. Okay, what is the sampling frame used? What is the definition of sampling frame? A list of all members in the population consists of their information. So in this case, the sampling frame will be a list of all residents in a city consists of apa? Dalam telefon directory ni kita ada apa? Dia ada name, address, and phone number je kan. Kita letak yang tu ikut konteks, right? Konteks apa yang kita tengok. It consists of dia names, address, and phone number. Okay, itu saja. Right, kita tengok apa yang kita nak masukkan dalam sampling frame ni, kena tengok konteks lah. Apa konteks yang kita tengok sekarang adalah telephone directory. So now, what is the variable of interest? Apa dia nak kaji sebenarnya ni? Yes, a level of computer literacy. Right. So what is the type of variable used? So level of computer literacy, nama level kan? Level means either very good, good, not so good, bukan apa? Poor and very poor, contoh kan? So is a categorical variable kan? Categorical variable, kita tak tulis categorical variable, kita tulis qualitative variable. Right? So, what is the type or level of measurement? We know that this is a qualitative variable. For example, kita letak dekat sini lah. Dia adalah very good, good, poor, very poor. For example kan. So, ada 4. So, it should be ordinal scale. Ordinal scale. It should be in order lah. Okay. Right, good. Bagus. Let's look at another 2 example. Then kita tamatkan kelas kita pagi ni. And then I akan bagi satu lagi example. Bukan example lah, exercise lah for you to do. Right. So the management of certain cellular telephone company conduct a study to see the customer satisfaction towards the service they have given to the customer throughout Malaysia. 500 customers are selected randomly from the list of customers who purchase cellular telephone. Right? Kenapa dia tak nak straight? So determine the population of interest. What is a population of interest? Yes, yes. All customer throughout Malaysia lah. Right. So mesti ada magic word lah, all. Okay. So what is a sample of the study? Dia sebut clear kat sini kan. You just pick the value yang dia bagilah. You just extract the value from the information from statement. 500 customer. Right. Boleh? Sebab ini soalan macam ni, dia akan keluar dalam final exam question number 1. Right. Question 1A, 1B. Right. So ini question 1A, 1B lah. Just start macam tu, okay? Nanti akan bagi dekat you once kita dah habis next week. Right. So decide the sampling frame for the study. So kalau dia beli phone, selalu apa yang kedai minta? Dia minta you punya nama. Dia minta you punya phone number. Lagi address. Itu saja kan? Betul? Sebab dia nak tulis dalam receipt kan? So, or list of all customer consists of their information such as name, phone number and address. Sometimes dia minta email address kan, email juga kan. Tengoklah keadaan, boleh tambah-tambah sikit lah. Tak payah tambah banyak-banyak, sikit-sikit sudahlah. Kita 3 jam saja nak buat final exam. Alright, last question. State the variable of interest. So what is a variable of interest? Apa dia nak kaji ni sebenarnya? Yes, customer satisfaction. Alright, itu sahaja. Okay. So customer satisfaction ni dia boleh letak dalam bentuk very satisfied, satisfied, dissatisfied, very dissatisfied. So dalam bentuk Likert scale lah. So ordinal scale. Right, last question. So since we already know the classification of variable, right, the qualitative, quantitative, right, and scale of measurement as well. So for the following data, state whether each of the following variable is qualitative or discrete quantitative or continuous quantitative. So number of car per household. Number of car per household 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tak tahu lagi ada banyak kan. Itu apa? Qualitative or discrete quantitative or continuous quantitative?
Discrete quantitative.
Yes, so it should be discrete quantitative. Okay. Type of car, foreign car, local car, should be qualitative, right? So number of long distance journey travel per year. So kalau kita tanya number of long distance journey, so dia akan bagi tahu dalam bentuk macam mana. Berapa kali dia pergi long distance journey kan? So 1 kali, 2 kali, 3 kali. So this is going to be discrete quantitative lah. And color of car, yellow, black, green, pelik-pelik. This is qualitative. Distance travel in kilometer per month. So berapa kilometer you travel per month? So orang akan sebut macam mana kalau ditanya? Yes, sometimes it can be continuous quantitative, but it depend on situation. You tanya macam mana. Selalu kalau kita tanya berapa kilometer you travel sebulan, right? Orang tak akan respon, oh I travel 152.5 kilometer. Tak ada. Orang kata, dia akan sebut dalam bentuk whole number kan. Oh 200 kilometer selalunya 250 kilometers. Kita tak sebut exactly. Betul? So then it should be in discrete quantitative lah. Right. So monthly spending money on fuel. Again, kita isi point ke? Kita isi minyak tak sebut, kita tak isilah RM10 20 kan. Kita RM10, RM20 atau RM5 macam tu lah naik motor kan. So this is going to be discrete lah, right? Okay. Right, good. So next class kita akan discuss on source of data and scale of measurement kita discuss. So kita akan revisit balik. Maybe scale of measurement ni nanti kita tengok semula lah. Right. And then kita ada sampling techniques, data collection method and so on lah. Then kita habis. Okay. So before we end our session, any question you want to ask regarding the topic? Any question you want to ask regarding topic?
No.
Okay. So for your attendance, I want you to do this exercise and make sure that we have 20 question dalam exercise ni. Right? I letak dalam group, okay? So you masuk quizzes, you kena letak nama you penuh Okay, let's say I letak capital letter. Right? And then you click on start. Jangan letak nama pendek-pendek Diana ke Farah ke, pendek-pendek tak nak, I nak letak penuh. Okay? So I boleh tally dengan uh, attendance you future. Alright? So make sure you dapat 80% untuk melayakkan you dapat attendance. Okay? Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum. Alright. Okay.